It's spooky time. When we used to live down the street, it was very haunted. Well, this whole area is haunted. Many Native American burial grounds here throughout this town. And I never experienced so much activity until I moved out here. I was born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut. Anyways, I remember coming home from grocery shopping, and as I'm opening the door, I can hear talking. And so I figured the girls were home from school, so I go in, I figured, oh, they left the TV on. And as I walked in, I could still hear the talking. It felt like women, like older women. And when I went to hit the TV to turn it off, we had a floor model, and you had to just tap it and turn off. The TV wasn't on. And as soon as I noticed that, I looked toward the couch, and the talking stopped. And I just proceeded into the kitchen with my bag of groceries. I remember being in the kitchen with the girls, and I was pouring myself a glass of milk. And I knew before it happened that it was going to get knocked out of my hand. And it did. And I watched that glass of milk fall like slow motion right to the floor. Didn't say a damn word. Didn't say nothing. I just cleaned up the mess. It's just knowings. Just knowings. It just know how I know I don't know that I just know, and it happened. Just slapped my hand. Well, my mom had a boyfriend. His name was Juan. We love Juan. Juan was very protective of us. Him and my mother would take my oldest daughter fishing all the time. I knew she was safe, and she was. I knew that in my spirit. Well, one day, Juan was missing for 3 days, and you know where he was. My mother couldn't find him. And not too long after that, I found out that he had drowned in the Connecticut River. How they found out, because his wallet had addresses and pictures. It was pictures of us, and they figured I was. They thought it was, related, and they didn't know how that happened. But he was 3 days in the water, so he didn't have an open casket. But that was sad. Well, that night, I remember waking up because I felt something touching my feet, and my feet was exposed. When I sleep, my bed is made. It's tucked in the front and everything. And I just get in like a pocket, and I remember waking up because I felt something going. I felt like a feather going up and down my feet. And I remember when I woke up and felt that, how you lift your feet up, your legs up to your chest, and I'm like paralyzed of fear of that. When I turned the light on, my blanket blanket quilt was folded. It was folded where my feet were exposed. And I remember jumping out of that bed and running into the bathroom and kind of freaking out. So I told the girls about it and stuff, I knew it was Juan. I knew it was Juan. Sometimes I get flashes of ghosts in the hallway. The hallway was really haunted, like certain spots in the house, because we were upstairs, downstairs. So the girls were scared and they got in bed with me, and we're sitting there with the light on in the bed. And as you looked up on the top of the curtains, the window facing the street, we can see a cloud just hovering over the spirit, over the drapes. And I looked at the girls and I said, "You see that?" And they said, "We see it, Mom." I said, "That's Juan. That's Juan. Juan." I said, "Juan, you're scaring us." We're scared. And then, not too long after that, I got a new neighbor, Pan, and her daughter, Melina. I remember I mean, it wasn't even a week, and she was knocking at my door saying the house was spooking her, and that the lights keep turning on and off. You pull the plug and this and that, and it was like, I know who it is. She's Vietnamese, so they pretty much know about stuff like that. So she just came over. That's how she spoke to me, and I said, okay, I take care of it. I know who it is. And that was the end of the story. I said, Juan, you are scaring everyone. The neighbors that used to live there, they're not there anymore. They were bad neighbors. I said, Pon and her daughter, Malene, I'm friends with them on Facebook too. They're not bad. They just moved in. Their mother and her daughter. I said, those bad people left. They were thrown out. And I know you want to protect us, and that's okay. But you're scaring us. You're scaring the neighborhood. But I know you're protecting us. And so I'd go into the hallway because I could feel a portal there, right over the linen closet and over the girl's bed. Like my room was here, and the girl's room was right there, and the closet right there, along with the bathroom. And then you go downstairs. So I'm looking up because I could feel it. I could feel that energy. And I said, Juan, like, be in peace, And I said what I said to him. We loved him very much. He's buried over there in that cemetery, close to the end of between Hartford and Bloomfield. By Capacos, like everybody's buried over there from Park Street in Hartford. And he's over there. And we tried to go see him one time. He has a number. He should have had a tombstone, but we went to his funeral. He had family upstate New York. They came to say their farewells, but that was really scary. And we experienced a lot of things like that. Or my spirit guides would tell me something, and it would happen. And so, oh man, what else in this house? This house was too much. We saw a black cat down the basement. And when it walked by the pillars, it disappeared. My daughter saying, I saw a black cat down the basement. I said, I know, I see. Once in a while, we come upstairs, black cat. Autumn used to cry all the time. I'm sure he saw spirits in this house. We saw black cats and an orange cat here. Probably cats that used to live here, They weren't Gomez or Autumn. And I had Isaiah back then, so it wasn't him because he was there. His sister Diamond. Had a lot of cats. And I feel like they're very protective. I don't know why people have an issue with black cats. They are a blessing. There's something very special. Somebody started a bad rumor about them, and it's really not true. Just a rumor. Black cats are a blessing and very protective. Mike Gomez protected me. He always knew when spirits were in the house. So I call them my ghost detectors. And I'm trying to make people more aware of that animals, from cats to dogs, they know. They know. And they sense spirits before even you do. I'd be sitting in the lazy boy, and Autumn would be sitting on me, and he'd stop and then just look, like turn his head, something behind me, like, you see anything behind me? No, but he sees it. They saw David, and they saw all the spirits that came here when they passed. When my father died, he had called me first, like 5 a.m, and he knew he was going to die, and he was afraid. And he was in Puerto Rico when this happened, and he had bronchitis, so he had a hard time talking. Be careful with those hospitals in Puerto Rico, man. They're not sanitary. And him and his sister, who was a nurse, died because of the hospital. Bronchitis and pneumonia, and you die from the filth. And she's a nurse, and he had called me. So at that time, he died right after that. And so, I went through that. We had to get ready, my brother and I, to go to Puerto Rico to go see him. And many times my father, I have a Halloween clock in the kitchen, and it screams or laughs every hour on the hour. And I noticed while I was brushing my teeth that I wasn't hearing the ticking. So I went into the kitchen, and it stopped. It stopped the day my father died. 2 days later, it started, and I'm in the bathroom brushing my teeth. I hear the ticking, and I went in there, and it was on, and then it stopped. I feel like my father's trying to get my attention. He's trying to let me know he's on the other side. One time I have this hutch that belonged to my grandmother, and she passed it on to my mother, and my mother passed it on to me in the 80s. And I'm in a lazy boy watching TV, and all of a sudden the cabinet opened up. Now you can't open the cabinet on the hutch because it's so magnetized. I mean, this was made in the early '60s, so they made things good back then. And you had to pull it, and it would almost make everything shatter inside because it was so hard to open. It'd make a lot of noise. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear it unclick, and the door slowly opening. And I could catch it in my peripheral vision, and when I looked, the door was open. And I said, I know that's you, Dad. It never happened again. Never happened since the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. It's 2026, and it hasn't happened since 2016 when my father passed away. He passed January 11th. Yeah, a lot of stuff like that. Like, I remember having these fake candles in the kitchen that turned on by remote control, and the batteries had went dead, and I had to, charge them and stuff, but I hadn't. They were still on the table. Long stem candles, really pretty, and one of them turned on by itself. And things like that would happen, like the flickering. Like, I do have a video of the lamp flickering on and off, like a crazy banshee. And then it would do it again and again, and then it stopped, and it hasn't done it since. It hasn't done it since. TV would freeze, turn off, wouldn't turn on until it wanted to turn on. That was just a few months ago, and nothing I could do to turn it back on. Nothing. Not the remotes. Nothing would work manually. No. Then all of a sudden, it just clicked back on. That hasn't happened once this year. And we're at the 5th day in January. Yeah, you could hear. Just last night, I heard somebody in my bedroom. I remember talking to my cousin John when he passed away. I remember I was upset with him, and I said a few things, and I swear somebody was in my room tearing it up. And you go in there, and nothing's touched. It's so weird. You ever hear people talk about that? And they say they're going to go in that room, and it's a mess, and it's not. You hear it, and then you get these chills, like going all the way on your head, and you feel all this creepy crawlies and goosebumps and chills and shivers. So I don't need to upset you. It's just I just needed to say it, but they get mad, and several things. You're being talked to. I hear messages. And I get a lot of messages doing the dishes for some reason. The sink is, the water's running, and I'm doing a few dishes, and especially in the morning, it's crazy, the stuff they tell me, And it'd be true. And I think it's just not so much even telling me stuff about people or knowings. It's just, so when it's validated, it's like you trust that, You trust that. I think one of my first experiences was the Native American chief who saved my life as a 5-year-old. Coming home from church, and then a soft-spoken woman told me we had Chinese in the family, and I never spoke about it. I knew it was on my father's side, and I never questioned family or anything like that. But I found out later from my aunt that her great-great-grandmother is Chinese. I remember they had slaves too. Chinese were slaves as well on the island, and so but they don't talk about that very much. And I remember watching my walker move by itself. I've sat on the chair watching TV, and I seen the dryer go turn on, and I watched the knob turn to a setting I never use. I seen that 3 different times, and it's like, man, if they can do stuff like that, just acknowledge them and say, I see you, I know you're here, and because God knows. So I just wanted to share those few things because there's just so much more stories. But my father, he was here a lot. He was spooking my daughter a lot. Like, he was there mostly with her than me, and he'd have these white flashes, and she'd see that a lot. And I said she knew it was him, and because she has abilities too, she just don't like them, and she blocks them a lot. But she said that was very scary. I don't know if she had experience with Juan, because Juan loved her like a granddaughter. He was very protective. And one time I forgot his last name, and I remember Is he not Juan? Juan. Why can't I remember his name? And I heard a voice say, Lucena. That's, oh my God, that's his, yeah, Juan Lucena. Like if he was telling me. And that was like maybe 10 years ago. That was like around 2015, I'd say. Well, like 11 years ago, yeah. I never forgot it again. He built a swing out in the back by the tire, swing for the girls. He was just a very awesome step grandfather to the girls, you know, and it just he was a blessing to us. Yeah, we miss Juan. We miss Dad. I miss my father. I miss Edwin. I was talking about Edwin yesterday. So I wish he was here. And he came into my dreams. I just fell asleep on the couch and he came into my dreams. Him and my other brother. Yeah. So my ears want to ring. They're just blasting and ringing. So I just wanted to share that little bit. And I'll be back for more. So